Okay, so this is part two of the explanation of how to solve question 19 in the final review, my open math. So I'm just reminding you, in between these two videos, I wrote down to remind you, what did we do in part one? We found all the possible rational zeros, just as we found all the possible rational zeros in question 18. And with all of these possible zeros, we try them out using synthetic division and see which one can be. You can take x minus one of those numbers and divide it into the term here. Here's our term. You try out your different possible zeros with this term and see which one is really a solution. It's really a zero of this big equation here. And then once you try out all these different possibilities, which included, plus or minus 6, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 1, 1 was the one that worked. X equals 1. We know we have now a root. We have an answer. We have a solution for this equation, x cubed plus x squared minus 8x plus 6 equals 0. We do have one of the three solutions. Now we want to find the other two solutions to this equation. And synthetic division gave us the coefficients of, because these numbers down here give us the coefficients of the quadratic. And now we need to solve this quadratic equation right here. Solve. Oh, I'm sorry. I better move this down. We want to solve x squared plus 2x minus 6 equals 0. Well, sometimes you can solve the quadratic in one of these problems using factoring. I don't think factoring is going to work here. We better use the quadratic formula using the coefficients, of these terms here now. So a equals 1, b equals 2, c equals a negative 6. That means x is going to be, I'll remind you the formula in case you have forgotten it. Everything over 2a. So the other two, the x equals 1 is one answer to this equation. But the other two are going to be given to us by the quadratic formula. A negative b is a negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 4b squared, 4 times 1 times a negative 6, everything over 2, and now I'll write it this time like this, negative 2 over 2 plus or minus the square root of, turns out to be underneath there, 28 all over 2. And I can simplify that into this equals a negative 1 plus or minus. Oh, sorry, I'm writing stuff that you can't see again. I'm gonna, there. Sorry. Well, anyway, here's about where we left off. You can see what I did. I'm using the quadratic formula to find the values of x. I plug in a negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And then I get here a negative 2 over 2 plus or minus. This is the square root of 28 over 2. And I can simplify this. This is where I had the page so where you couldn't see it, the whole thing. A negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 4 times 7 over 2, which is going to give us x equals to the negative 1 plus or minus sorry, 2 over 2 times square root of 7, which is negative 1. You know, these cancel out, obviously. Negative 1 plus the square root of 7, and a negative 1 minus, sorry, a negative 1 minus the square root of 7. So you see, we finally reached the answer to our whole problem. This video is a bit shorter than the first video, was about 10 minutes long. And then with an additional 5.5 minutes, remember we found this value by synthetic division, and we found the other two solutions to the equation by means of the quadratic formula. And we have all three solutions now of the, and there's this, what the problem was asking us to find, the three solutions to the equation.